Variety. So this is Variety Films, and it is time to finally talk about a variety of movies. What exactly do I mean by that? What I mean is I'm going to talk about my personal top 100 favorite movies of all time. And when I do so, there's going to be a range of a variety of genres and actors and directors and all types of things. So if any of you actually bears with me from 100 all the way down to number 1, it'd be real interesting if any of you can maybe guess some of my favorite overall actors, my favorite director, my actual favorite genre of film. That'd be pretty awesome, and then definitely always want to participate in the comments, and we can have a little bit of discussion, talk about maybe why did I pick that movie over this movie, blah blah blah. 100 films, that's a lot. This video is going to be really long. Well, actually, I'm going to split it up by tens, and then I'm going to be able to separate it that way, because then I can actually talk a little more in depth about the movies and why they're in my top 100. So I'm going to do about a 1 or 2 sentence plot synopsis of each film, and then I'm going to talk about why they're near dear to my heart, why they're on my list, and why I enjoy them so much. So without further ado, let's get started. So at number 100, we have a 1979 classic, a Vietnam War film that stars Martin Sheen and is directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. If you've never seen this film, but you've heard that saying, then that's where it's from. Martin Sheen's character is a Vietnam specialist. He's pretty badass, and he's assigned to go find a rogue soldier played by Marlon Brando, and he goes on and he meets Robert Duvall, who's the sergeant, and then he also meets Lawrence Fishburne, who plays a young soldier, and he brings a lot of energy and entertainment to the kind of dark and gritty feel of the movie. This film's important to me because of the art aspect, not necessarily because it's not something that I am personally going to watch 10 times in a row, or maybe not even multiple times a year. It's lower on my list, but I definitely had to include it into my top 100. Next up, we have 2005's V for Vendetta. This movie was directed by James McTeigue. I think that's how you say it, whatever. And it stars Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman's character finds herself in some danger, and she's saved by Anonymous, played by Hugo Weaving, and then they kind of form a little friendship/partnership, and she kind of goes along with him when you figure out like what exactly he's going for, kind of his anarchism, kind of his savior superhero. It's not necessarily clear what his goals are, and if he's a good guy or bad guy. Is he a terrorist? Is he a hero? We don't really know until we go to the end, and the journey of that is just awesome. 1987, a movie that probably has the most interesting opening 20-30 minutes of a film ever, in my opinion, and that is the boot camp scene led by Robert Lee Emery in Full Metal Jacket. I don't really want to go into the details about the stuff he says, because it gets pretty, yeah. But if you've never seen that movie, at least watch the first 30 minutes of that, and you'll be dying until the end of that act, because it kind of gets pretty gritty, and it also paints a picture like, wow, that actually might be how it goes on, and it's pretty tough. First act, the first 20-30 minutes itself gets it on its list, and the fact that I'm not really as intrigued, and it really is in feel with the war itself, that's why it's lower on the list. A movie about two brothers from the 2011's Gavin O'Connor's Warrior. And this movie stars Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. Joel Edgerton's character is a teacher who's down in his luck. He's behind on his bills. If he doesn't come up with money real soon, he's going to lose his house, which he has a wife and 2 daughters. And Tom Hardy's character, on the other hand, we find out kind of a little about his backstory. You can tell he's a guy that doesn't really open up. He's not very emotionally attached to other people, and you kind of learn about his character going on. But he also fights MMA, and he decides to enter the contest. So the two men, you kind of feel that, they have different reasons to enter this contest, but you also feel why they do it, and they're also really good fighters. The action is intense. It's a great fighting film, and if you like UFC, you're definitely going to love this movie. And even if you don't like UFC and you aren't squeamish or not into blood, then you're definitely going to enjoy this film. The reason it's so low on my list is I feel like the plot is kind of obvious, and the story, you can tell where it goes. If it had been a little deeper into the plot, then I probably would have this in my top 10 even. This movie is personal to me because it's one of my favorite activities that I love to do in my free time, and that's play pool. So if you know anything about movies, you might be able to guess that this is 1961's The Hustler, starring Paul Newman. This movie might be the easiest to kind of explain. It's a man who's really good at pool, and he goes to bars around and he tries to hustle people. His ego gets the best of him, and he ends up going up against this real heavy hitter pool player, and they just go back and forth. And the fact that I love pool is just very enjoyable to watch. The shots that they make. Next up is a movie that I actually just watched for the first time, and I've heard so many good things about it. And I don't know why I never watched it before, but I finally gave it a chance. I bought it on DVD, surprisingly. So if I watch this movie some more, and then I actually watched it on the Blu-ray, this will go up higher on my list maybe one day. But for now, it's 2006 Children of Men, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, starring Clive Owen. The movie's set in the distant future, just 2027, I'm sorry, and it is the end of mankind in a sense, whereas the production of babies has gone away. You know, mankind is on the verge of extinction, and the youngest baby at 18 just got murdered. Well, Amitab's not a baby, but the youngest guy at 18 just got murdered, so obviously that shows that he's the youngest person in the world, and he's only 18 years old. Just the adventure that they go on to kind of figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to move on, and how they're going to settle extinction is just amazing. It was very well done. It's beautiful. Like, I watched it on DVD, and I still love the way it looks, so I can't wait to see it on Blu-ray. This movie was on the IU channels all the time, so I watched it multiple times my freshman year of college, and that's Source Code. It's a science fiction movie where Jake Gyllenhaal is a soldier, and he's put in this program to where he gets sent back in time to a train event where he has to find out a bombing, and he has to keep going back and forth trying to figure out where this bomb is, how it happened, and so he can stop the bombing from happening. Real action-packed, not necessarily action-packed like a lot of shooting and stuff, but just like motions and shot after shot, and it just feels action-packed. And Jake Gyllenhaal is able to bring a lot of comedy to this movie because he has a lot of, he's, like I said, he's been doing the things, multiple times in a row. So there's times where it's like, hey, coffee's about to spill. Hey, don't answer that. Hey, watch out. Stuff like that. He knows it's coming, and he's just like, all right, let's get it going. And I enjoy Jake Gyllenhaal's performance and all the other side characters, their performance. And the concept itself at the time was amazing for me. I was blown away that they even came up with that idea. And even after multiple viewings, I still like the concept overall, and I very well enjoy the movie. Probably, maybe in my entire top 100, this might be the most surprising for most people because this isn't a movie that you really think of as a top tier movie of all time. This is personal for me because I read the books, and just the way that they adapted it into film, it just really sunk deep with me. That's 2004's Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban, directed by Alfonso Cuarón, the man I talked about a couple picks ago. The first two movies, had the adventures that Harry went on, but overall, it was just average. It had pretty much this here, and here's the action. Here it was just, kids going to school and doing all that type of stuff. Whereas The Prisoner of Azkaban, it has all the drama, the intense, the gritty, the dark. Sirius Black was done really well. From reading the books, I was really worried about how they were going to adapt Sirius onto the screen, but Gary Oldman did an amazing job. To be honest, I didn't even know that was Gary Oldman until years later, because it's like the same guy that plays Commissioner Gordon is Sirius Black. That is amazing, and it was just done really well, and you could just see the growth of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and it just, wow. Here's Johnny. 1980s The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick, which also I forgot to mention earlier, but Full Metal Jacket, that is a Stanley Kubrick film as well. Jack Nicholson was able to encapsulate that performance and then that build-up and that character that was real intense, so how that eats away at your brain and just how, when you actually, whatever happens at the end actually finally happens, you understand and you believe it, and it's just like, yeah, here's Johnny. At number 91, we have 1991's Boys in the Hood. This movie is just really great to me. I love it. You're able to just sit back and you're actually able to think about, what it would be like living in the hood. I don't think a lot of people actually think about it. It's not really a stereotypical movie. If you think of a movie that's in the hood and, all that type of stuff, you would think there'd be a lot of stereotypical stuff, but it kind of has a real good balance to it, and I just think it was done really well. Ice Cube was really good in his performance. Cuba Gooding Jr., really good. Morris Chestnut, really good. Lawrence Fishburne as the dad, he's real harsh, but he's realistic at the same time. Raising his kid in the hood, he's got to be pretty harsh because he's also teaching him to be a man, because when you're living in the hood, you can either go one way or the other, that fork in the road, and he wants to make sure his son doesn't go the wrong way. It is 191 of my personal top 100. You want to discuss those movies, like, hey, do you want to complain to me why they're so low? Let me know, comment below, and hey, be ready for more.